Yesterday I ended live like that because I was tired, bro. I couldn't. I said, fuck it, bro. I gotta go sleep, bro. And I just turn off this shit and drop to the bed and sleep, bro. I'm asleep for like 8 hours yesterday. But anyway, back in here. Um, back in this live on this new live. Today is 18. It's already 18, guys. It's already 18. So anyway, fuck it. We're gonna react to a few videos today, and then we're gonna play some Ninja Gaiden, or we're gonna end up playing FIFA. Not FIFA, FC25. Anyway, if you guys new in the live, new in the chat, subscribe, not subscribe, follow, and yes, every night it's gonna be like this, chilling, watching some videos and play some games. My name is Popo Z, by the way. Popo Z. You can call me Low Z or Tammy, whatever. Well, let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it started. First video you're gonna react to is what really happening at the Olympics. Video by Grant Rudolph. Something like that. Anyway, man, like the fuck, and let's go.
Every 4 years, the Olympic Committee makes over $7 billion in revenue.
The host,
Damn.
Milano Cortina.
But the cities that host the Olympics often go bankrupt. And 3 out of every 5 athletes say they are not financially stable. So we have to ask, where is that $7 billion going, and who is actually profiting?
I knew about this shit. I knew about the Olympics making that kind of money and not even paying. I didn't know they didn't pay the athletes, bro. I thought they used to pay the athletes from that money, bro. They don't pay the athletes, bro. And they don't even help the city where they host the games. I mean, the Olympics. They just take that $7 billion and put it in the packets, and they gone. That's easy money, bro. That's easy fucking money. We're just starting the live, and I'm already going crazy. But it's crazy, bro. The motherfucker makes $7 billion on a fucking game, and they don't share that money with no athletes, bro. No athletes get nothing, bro. I mean, some athletes get something because of sponsorship and shit. But if you have no sponsors, you have no brand deal, nothing, bro. You out here grinding by yourself, trying to go to the Olympics. Oh shit!
From
Stuff.
the Olympics. Where's going, and who is actually profiting from the Olympics? This is $7.7 billion. This is how much the International Olympic Committee made from 2021 to 2024. But in order to understand why that's so important, we first need to understand what the IOC actually does. Based in Lucerne, Switzerland, the IOC is the guardian of the Olympic Games. Their goal is to make sure that the Olympics happen on a regular basis, under the same rules, and without any government control, regardless of where they're being held. In other words, they tell the host cities what the rules are, and they manage the Olympic brand. And that brand is worth billions of dollars, at least for now. The IOC's revenue is broken into 3 main categories. 55% of it is due to broadcast rights. Since the Olympics are a global activity, the IOC is able to go all over the world and sign individual contracts with different national and regional broadcasters to show the Olympics in their home countries.
Makes sense.
53% of this bucket is made up by the Americas, and more specifically, NBC. NBC has broadcast every Olympic Games in the Americas since 2000, and they actually just signed a brand new deal for $3 billion to continue broadcasting the Olympics through 2030.
$3 billion to keep broadcasting more Olympics.
But broadcasting isn't the only way the IOC makes their money.
There's only one man who could have taught him that.
We've all seen these commercials, especially in the months and weeks leading up to the games. These brands are part of the Olympic Partners Program, otherwise known as TOP. Coca-Cola is one of the longest standing partners of the Olympics, and they've had their name next to the 5 rings.
How Coca-Cola can be a partner of the Olympics? Meaning, how, like, my thing is, like, Coca-Cola is not a healthy drink. You know what I mean? The Olympics, to me, I the way I view it is like a sports, literally sports. Whereas it's fit people. There's no fat people there either. You know what I'm saying? There's no obese people doing this stuff. this like people that train and everything. It's like dedication, discipline. Like those people that do that shit, they don't be drinking Coca-Cola. They don't be drinking soda or not. I mean, they drink it, but not like your average people that drink it. Not the average people. The people that drink it every day. I'm saying like the people follow rules, discipline, and everything to be in a good shape to participate in Olympics. And the Olympics have a partnership or a sponsorship, whatever, with Coca-Cola, which is not a healthy drink. Which is, I mean, mm, it makes no sense. But Coca-Cola has hella money. They have a lot of money. So Olympics want money. They greedy as fuck.
Since 1928, and they reportedly paid $93 million
Since when?
rings since 1928.
Since
And they
1928.
reportedly paid $93 million to use the Olympic brand in their marketing. At the moment, there are 11 top brands that are partnered with the Olympics, and these brands sign massive multi-year deals to use the Olympic rings and the game-specific logos in their marketing and advertising. But recently, the IOC has struggled to keep some of their previous long-term sponsors on board.
Okay.
Specifically, when Toyota announced that they would not be renewing, they gave a reason. They publicly stated that they ended their 10-year sponsorship because they believe the games are becoming too political and that the IOC is not distributing sponsorship funds in a way that actually helps athletes or promotes
Yes,
sports.
sir.
We'll unpack that more in a minute.
Good for that,
Sponsorship
Toyota.
currently makes up about 36% of the IOC's total revenue, which is a considerable amount of money, but as more and more companies fall out of love with the Olympic brand, this number could very well drop. Beyond sponsorship
good.
revenue and broadcast rights, the remaining 9% of the IOC's revenue is driven through other activities. These are things like smaller Olympic licensing deals and things that happen between the games themselves. But of that $7.7 billion, you'd be pretty surprised as to how much of that is actually used to host the games. And it might provide some hints as to what Toyota was talking about. Tracking down these budgets and revenue numbers is always a bit harder than expected when I start making these videos, just like finding a doctor that
hell
you
no.
actually like, which is why I'm glad that today's video
Oh hell no, buddy. You gonna got me here today. Eh.
to find the right doctor for you today. Thank you, ZocDoc. Now let's get back to the Olympics.
All right.
The International Olympic Committee has simultaneously elected Paris 24, Los Angeles 28.
By
LA.
2019, host cities would submit formal bids to the IOC to win the right to host the Olympics. However, as more cities became financial disasters after hosting the games, there weren't as many governments chomping at the bit to host. So the IOC changed the bidding process.
It's like hosting the Olympics is not profit. Yes, it's cool. You get a lot of tourism to your, in your country. You get your not your country, your city. You get your city, the name around the world. But at the end of the day, the cities where the Olympic is always host is cities like they known, bro. Like Rio de Janeiro is known. It's like it's very popular. It's not like nobody would be like, oh, it's Rio. Oh, where's Rio? Everybody knows Rio in Brazil. Like Paris, we know Paris in France. Like we know LA is in California. You know, in the United States. So it's just not like cities where people don't know. So the city don't really get any profit from hosting the Olympics. I think besides getting money from tourism, but at the end of the day, how much the Olympics make more money than
Their
the
goal
city.
was to make the entire process easier for cities and promote a more financially stable way of hosting the games. But they also closed off the bidding process, so we no longer know what's happening until it's decided. During the bidding or dialogue phase, as they call it now, cities will work with the IOC to create a budget and plan for hosting the games. These plans typically show what venues they currently have, which ones they'll need to build, how they'll get people around the city, and what their security plans are. Then, once a host city is chosen, they create two budgets. The first one is run by the IOC, and more specifically, a smaller team called the Organizing Committee for Olympic Games. Every Olympic Games has its own OCOG and OCOG budget. Think of OCOG like a group of consultants who are assigned to plan, finance, and stage the event. But the important thing here is that similar to consultants, OCOG isn't spending any of their own money on this. Sure, they do pass down a little bit of the IOC revenue from broadcasting and sponsorships, but it's usually a fraction of the total cost. The OCOG budget budget covers the sporting and operating costs of the Olympics, and these are things like temporary tents, timing systems, scoreboards, workers, and ceremonies. But it's not anything related to construction or permanent capital investments. That's part of the non-OCOG budget. And this is where things always get out of hand. Yet the IOC feels none of this pain.
The Paris Committee is counting on a budget of under 7 billion euros for hosting the event, but previous hosts have had difficulty sticking to their budgets.
This is a map of the last 5 Summer Olympics, and alongside their name, you'll
Okay, Rio de Janeiro spent $13.1 billion. London spent $16.3 billion. Beijing, $44 billion? Damn. Tokyo, $28 billion. Sometimes I forgot Tokyo had a whole Olympics in 2020. And Paris, $8.2 billion.
see a number. That number is the amount of money these cities spent on hosting the Olympics. This number is how much they received from the IOC. Notice how
What?
on hosting the Olympics.
Bro, they only got 1.5 billion, 1.1, 1.25. That's nothing, bro. They just got nothing, bro. Nothing back.
You'll see a number. That number is the amount of money these cities spent on hosting the Olympics. This number is how much they received from the IOC. Notice how they're not even remotely close to each other. Since 1960, every Olympic Games has gone over budget. And not just by a little.
See that
Since
again.
1960, every Olympic Games has gone over budget.
That should look dope. Rome? That's good. Was Germany here? Anyway, it's going
And not just by a little bit, the average overrun is about 150 to 175% of the anticipated spend. But when we look at specific years, it gets even worse. In 1980, Lake Placid was 324% over budget.
Wow.
Rio was 250 to 320.
Where's that? Lake Placid. Where's that? What the fuck is that? Oh, the New Year's State. What they were doing hosting this? You mean Olympic? Anyway, I guess.
24% over budget. Rio was 250 to 350% over budget. In Montreal in 1976 was 720% over budget, and it took roughly 30 years to pay off their Olympic debt. But what if I told you
Then nah, they got a debt for that shit? Nah, they crazy.
those budgets were kind of just made up with to begin with? As we already know, when the host city is going through the approval process, they submit their plans and rough budgets, but those plans also need to be approved by the local government because they're the ones who are going to pay for it. And the IOC won't move forward unless they have a government guarantee that the project will be paid for. The only problem is, in order to get a government guarantee, you need
You need
to
a
work
budget.
with politicians, and politicians need to explain their decisions to the taxpayers. So they'll usually lobby for a lower initial budget to paint the picture that the games are a smart investment. After all, that's what the IOC does. But in one case, that pitch to taxpayers didn't really work out. In 1972, Denver was selected as the host of the 1976 Winter Games, but the voters of Denver rejected the use of public funds for the Olympics in a 60-40 vote, making Denver the first and only city to reject the opportunity to host the Olympics after being awarded the games by the IOC. Typically, though, the IOC will pitch the Olympics as this way to build legacy of the city and bring in more tourism. But the actual historical outcome of the games doesn't really support that argument. If you look at the IOC website, they'll point to increased jobs, tourism, and long-term GDP growth as a benefit of hosting the games, but they're comparing that benefit to the OCOG cost. And remember, that's the smaller budget of the two.
But what they don't realize is like after the games, everything is they don't need those employees no more. A lot of people lost their job. A lot of people don't you know what I mean? Like people move on. They don't need a stadium or all that shit no more. So you know what I'm saying the same thing happened too in South Africa 2010 after the World Cup. That shit look rough, bro.
much smaller for that matter. So when you see announcements that the Olympics broke even or made a profit, it's typically because they're not including the massive capital expenditures from the non-OCOG budget. For example, Russia spent $8.7 billion on a new train line to get into Sochi for the Winter Olympics. Beijing also spent around $9 billion on a bullet train to connect their mountain events to the main Olympic village. But
How much?
$2 billion on a bullet train to connect their for the Winter Olympics. Beijing also spent around $9 billion on a bullet train to connect their mountain events to the main Olympic village. But who actually pays for these gigantic bills? Because it's not the IOC. In the Olympic world, these big ticket items are referred to as white elephants. They're the stadiums that are built to never be used again, or the train lines that are also never used again. These white elephants don't just take a massive investment up front, but they also cost millions of dollars per year to maintain even after the Olympics are over. So if they're not used to drive any income, they just sit there and pretty much fall apart. During the Olympics, the cities try to recoup some of their costs through ticket sales, corporate sponsorships, and merchandise, but most of the cost to host the Olympics is put on the taxpayer, which is why brands like Toyota and the taxpayers footing the bills are starting to question where the IOC is actually spending their money. According to the IOC's website, they distribute 90% of their revenue to the Olympic movement. What that is up for interpretation. If we do some back of the napkin math based on how much they make and how much they already send out to the host cities for the actual event of the Olympics, we're left with this mystery number of about $4 to $5 billion. That money is passed down to national Olympic committees, international federations, and other sporting bodies to help athletes and sports organizations worldwide. But when you really dig into it, less than 0.6% of the IOC's revenue goes directly to the athletes. And the average US athlete makes around $20,000 per year from their sport. That's less than a McDonald's fry cook. But the fry cook doesn't have to also pay a coach, buy equipment, have access to training space, and pay for travel to all their events, which is exactly why most Olympians have 1 or 2 part-time jobs on the side, while also
I think they should have at least free tickets, free plane tickets to every event. Like if I'm going to the event and I'm going to participate in the event and I qualify for the event, man, just give me a free ticket, bro, and a free hotel, bro. Come on. You mean? I mean, they're gonna have place to stay, but you mean to pay for the ticket to get there too? You cannot give me some free ticket? Nah, that sucks, dog.
Training to compete against the best athletes in the world. In 2012, half of the US track and field team made less than $15,000 annually, but the CEO of USA Track and Field makes around $1.2 million per year. And USA Track and Field is also one of those organizations that receives money from the IOC. But keep in mind, the IOC, USA Track and Field, and most other sporting bodies like this are non-profit organizations. That said, athletes do make some money from the Olympics, and it can be broken down into 3 categories. Number 1 is stipends. These are monthly payments that the athletes usually get from the sporting body that runs their sport, like USA Track and Field. Some sports like gymnastics, swimming, and track pay out a few $1,000s a month, but if you compete in a sport like fencing or rowing, you'd be lucky to get a couple $100s. Oh, and you also have to be good if you want a stipend, because the payments are based on experience, your past performance, and your ability to win medals. Which takes us to category number 2, the prize money. Something that might come as a surprise to you, or maybe not after what we've just discussed, the IOC doesn't pay anyone for winning anything at the Olympics. In fact, if an athlete does get any money for winning a medal, it comes from their home country. Some countries like Singapore and Hong Kong pay out over $700,000 for a gold medal, but the US only pays $38,000. And Great Britain gives you nothing. So the majority of athletes can't rely on winning a medal and being set for life, which is why they turn to the 3rd category, sponsorships. If you only read the headlines, you might think this is how all the athletes make crazy money, because we only see the major stars like Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, and Usain Bolt, who make millions of dollars per year through their sponsorships. But again, these contracts depend on how good you are, how many events you win, and how popular you are. So even if you're one of the best table tennis players in US history, you're gonna have a hard time finding sponsorships, which from a business perspective makes complete sense. The brands want an ROI out of their investments, so they need to invest in athletes that will be top of mind for the average viewer in America. But that brings us back to the IOC and the statements that they support athletes around the world. Most Olympic athletes make so little from their sport that they have to actually fundraise in their community to even pay to get to the Olympics. Imagine working your
That's
whole
wild,
life
bro.
to become an Olympian
That's
and
wild.
then having to fundraise your way there to the actual event. And in Paris, for example, even after you got there, they make you sleep on cardboard.
Hey everyone, we are back again in the Olympic Village testing out the cardboard beds. Oh, not my bed!
So again, where is all of this money going? If we take a wide look at what we just discussed, we'll see that the IOC owns the Olympic brand and gets all the benefit of selling the rights to it, which is how they make their billions of dollars in sponsorship and broadcast revenue. They then distribute a fairly small fraction to the host city to put on the games, and they send the rest out to all of those organizations around the world where it just kind of evaporates, leaving next to nothing for the athletes that make the entire show possible, all while the IOC takes on zero risk. Instead, the cities, countries, and taxpayers get to foot the bill, while the IOC just hangs out, collects the checks, and tells them how to run it all. Oh, and did I mention that the directors take home a combined $50 million for their services?
Damn.
This conversation is beginning to move its way to the forefront as less cities are willing to take on that risk, which is why the IOC changed the bidding process in 2019 and why Paris was one of the first games in recent history to actually stay somewhat close to their initial budget. To do that, 95% of the venues used were pre-existing or temporary structures, and they also had a pre-established transportation system that was already built to handle a large number of tourists.
Makes
And
sense.
venues that they did build were created for long-term community use. That said, they still went over budget by 16 to 25%, but the IOC's OCOG budget actually turned a profit if you exclude the capital investments and the non-OCOG side of things, which could be a little bit misleading if you're just skimming through the headlines. Some analysts argue that the logical long-term solution to the cost overruns of the Olympics is to have one permanent host for the Winter Games and one for the Summer Games, which would allow those cities to build out specific things for the games and hopefully understand how to do it profitably over a longer period of time. But that also kind of takes away from what makes the Olympics the Olympics. As a kid, I loved watching the opening ceremonies and seeing these new places through their own eyes. The cities and countries use the opening ceremonies to show off all the little things we might not otherwise know about them. But if we just move to one centralized location, it might take the magic out of the Olympics. At the end of the day, the Olympics aren't necessarily a bad business for everybody. They can be incredibly profitable for some nonprofit organizations, but for the athletes and the host countries, their profit comes in the form of honor and legacy.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a fun one to make, and personally,
That real video from Grand, bro. That real video, man. I like the video. Oh, no. No. I was thinking to react to this one. The Vini Benfica situation happened yesterday. The player that called the other player the monkey word. Let's react to this one. Let's react to this one. Let's see what's up.
He covered his mouth to say hermano to Vinny Jr. or brother. Yeah, right. As I'm sure by now you're aware of all the drama that happened between Benfica and Real Madrid. Real Madrid went and won the match here in the Champions League playoff round, the knockout stages, 1-0 in Portugal at Benfica's ground. But the game was broken up and was basically put on pause for about 10 minutes after Vinny Jr. alleged that Gianluca Prestiani, a young winger, wide player midfielder for Benfica, had racially abused him. Now, this happened after Vinny Jr. had given Real Madrid the lead. The goal, amazing, absolutely class, slaps it in the top corner. Goes and celebrates with the corner flag, and the referee decides that that is provocative. He's provoking Benfica supporters who are throwing drinks and throwing projectiles, and he gives them a yellow card. Before we even get into the madness, yeah, let's just stop right there. What kind of utter woke nonsense are we trying to achieve by giving yellow cards to players for dancing by the corner flag? This is mental. Apparently, it may also have been for Vinny Jr. pointing at the back of his shirt in the direction of Benfica fans. Now, I don't know about you, but I may have seen that celebration approximately 47,000 times in the world of football, and there are many footballers who have gotten away with dancing as part of their celebration. I mean, Antoine Griezmann was doing the L dance from Fortnite for a solid 6 months as a grown adult. If anyone was gonna get a yellow card for a dancing celebration, it probably should have been him. Yet for some reason, Vinny Jr. got himself in the book here. Now, I don't think it's the most egregious decision in the entire world. We're expecting a lot worse, right? But personally, I think it was unnecessary. Anyway, the situation spilled over a little bit. The referee's given a yellow card. When things start to calm down, Prestiani puts his shirt over his mouth and says something to Vinny Jr. And Vinny, in that moment, says that he said the word mono, which is monkey in Spanish. Vinny books it over to the referee to explain what's gone on. Now, in the video, in the fan footage you can see, or in the video, I can't remember if it's the video from the sidelines, you can also see Kylian Mbappe do a double take here. So he's also heard something. He doesn't react as explosively as Vinny Jr., but he's definitely heard Prestiani say something and immediately goes to confront him whilst Vinny Jr. has gone to the referee. And I think that's kind of telling. Kylian was on it in the press conferences after as well, ripping into Prestiani, wouldn't even address him by name. He only referred to him as the number 25, saying that he should never play in a UEFA sanctioned match again, and that he should never play in the Champions League, saying that he shouldn't turn up to the Bernabeu because I assume they'll just, like, the fans will just get him deported or something. There were other reports saying that he'd used a homophobic slur instead, and that he'd maybe agreed to saying that. I mean, either way, let's just get that out of the way. I didn't say this terrible thing, but I did say this terrible thing is a really, really bad way of addressing something.
Yeah.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense, because if you're trying to defend yourself, you're not going to explain something that's bad too. You would say, I didn't say it, and that's it. You're going to be like, oh, I didn't say that word. I say this a word. You're like, bro, you still say some foul shit, bro. You still say some foul shit, bro. Come on, man. Come on, chill out.
The obvious overarching thing here is that unless some microphone somewhere has picked something up, the true reality is that we are never gonna fundamentally know whether he said that unless somebody on his team reveals it, unless he acknowledges it or accepts it, which he's never going to do because he doesn't have to, or if maybe Kamavinga comes forward because he was also right next to him at the time. There's not going to be a way to prove this, and I'm going to just say that right now, and that's going to make this significantly more difficult, and it's why I'm not going to say in this video, and stop booing me, I'm not like some neutral looking at, but what I'm going to say is I don't think UEFA can impose any sort of ban on Prestiani, but what I'm going to ask you guys to do, and what I'm going to ask the general footballing public to do, is to just use common sense. I don't think this can be proven properly, but all I would implore is that people use some critical thinking. And I've recently realized or noticed on some of my videos where I talk about more serious things, even in a lighter, in a lighter way, that a lot of people don't like it when I talk about serious things that happen in the world, things that aren't good. I'm looking at directly you people, you that have left any sort of comment like that. I'm asking you guys to use some level of critical thinking. Now, the first thing, obviously, is the issue of the fact that he's lifted the shirt over his mouth. Now, that, again, makes it difficult to pinpoint the fact that he's actually said anything. It means we can't lip read, right? Now, I know players block what they say sometimes. I'm not an idiot, right? I watch football, and, players block what they say sometimes because it might be something tactical, or it might be that they're just chatting to another footballer, but they don't actually want the cameras to see that they're talking about each other's children going to the same school, because it doesn't seem like they should be talking about that in a footballing setting. It's very commonplace now in the world of football, obviously. I think in this particular context, right, they're having an argument. This is tensions are very high. I think if you are to put the shirt over your mouth, you're not just even covering it with your hand, you're putting your shirt over your mouth as well. There's absolutely no room for error, okay? There's no way anyone's gonna see what you've said. I just do feel like you wouldn't. Okay,
I don't understand what he mean. Like, by covering the mouth with a shirt, maybe is the that's very evident of he actually said some foul shit by covering his mouth. Sometimes any sports might see the player cover the mouth when they talk and everything. They just probably want to say some stuff, just like he said. But him covering his mouth with a shirt instead of his hand, that's like it's crazy. Probably actually say it.
Do that unless you were saying something that you didn't need to say. The speed at which Vinny acknowledged what had happened and ran to the referee, he's not gonna have, the synapses in his head have gone, right, I'm gonna create a plan to make this guy look like he's racist. He's just put a shirt over his head or over his mouth, so now I'm gonna go run to the... It was immediate. There was no time to think. There was no element of a plan being hatched. in his mind. There was no time for that to happen. So either he has misheard, genuinely, and Kylian Mbappe has also somehow simultaneously misheard, because that's the other thing. Kylian Mbappe has also heard Prestiani say it too, which makes it a lot worse for the Argentine. But the other things that I thought were really, really problematic, and again, like, make it look more confirmed. I think Prestiani's statement was terrible. He didn't say anything. Like, he didn't say, oh, I said this instead. He just said, I didn't say anything. Well, you did, because you put your shirt over your mouth. You didn't do sign language, did you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you are lying.
You say
in
some
that
shit.
situation
You say
about
some shit.
something. And I think Benfica as well. I couldn't believe the tweet that I saw this morning. Obviously, Benfica are not going to go down the path of being like, yeah, Prestiani, what, that's our boy? Racismo. They're not going to do that. But the tweet that they put out in the aftermath of this is absolutely insane. They basically suggested that Real Madrid's players collectively are lying because they weren't close enough to Prestiani to hear what he was saying. Now, I want you guys to have a look at these screenshots, okay? From the moment at which Prestiani said this. I've got 2 separate angles for you. Don't worry about it. And I want you to judge for yourself whether you think that any of like Real Madrid's players were too far away to hear what was said. There's actually 3 players here who are well within ear radius of what's going on, and that's Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe, and Eduardo Camavinga. Could I just say, actually, by the way, if he has said this, brother, you have got no manners. You've said it around 3 black donnies. You didn't even say it around Fede Valverde or something to try and soften the blow. You went and said it right in front of the 3 black dons. I think them lying, again, harms the defense. It's not only completely unprofessional, like I've said. It's not only completely shameless, but it's also just factually incorrect. It's like such a grasping at straws argument. If you'd come out and been like, look, we are against all forms of racism. We strongly believe in anti-racism campaigns listed, but we have to conduct an internal investigation. Prestiani's never been involved in something like this before. Then, okay, it's not going to get a great reception because you're going to have Real Madrid fans and the general public still coming at you, but at least it's professional. This is unprofessional and just wildly inaccurate. There's obviously that. Now, I quote tweeted it and said this club's a shambles. I kind of regret it a little bit now because that brings every fan into the mix, and not every Benfica fan is a racist. Like, a lot of them have really called out Benfica's social team for actually posting that. Though in fairness, there were Benfica fans actually doing monkey gestures in the stands. Either way, they
that's
don't
crazy.
represent every Benfica supporter. But what I actually found the most disappointing was Jose Mourinho's quotes after. I've always really, and I still respect Jose Mourinho. I think what he said was just tone deaf, but he's always had a great way of understanding the morals in football, despite pushing boundaries sometimes. He's an explosive character that gets himself into a lot of trouble, but when all is said and done, he looks out for people of different demographics and different backgrounds. So for him to come out and basically say afterwards, A, Benfica isn't a racist club because their legend is Eusebio, not a terrible thing to say. Bro said, listen, I can't be a racist because my friends are black in it. Yeah, he said that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But to then go at Vinny Jr. and say, why did you celebrate like that? You didn't need to. Really just fuels the agenda that I think is really, really harmful. A black player who's overconfident or dances deserves to be racially abused afterwards. That is an absolutely insane victim blaming line of thinking, right? Just because, even let's just say for the sake of argument, Vinny Jr. had gone over to the Benfica fans, yeah? He'd taken his shirt off and there was a Porto shirt underneath or a Sporting Lisbon shirt underneath. Yeah, cool, he's provoked them, definitely. Shithousery award, like we'd give to the likes of Jamie Vardy when they do stuff like that, or Zlatan Ibrahimovic when they do stuff like that. But, and yeah, cool, if they want to give him some stick, if they want to say that you lost the Ballon d'Or to Rodri, or you've not won the World Cup, Otamendi has, which is something they were, having a joke about later on in the game, then fine. We don't need to resort to actual prejudice or racism or homophobia or sexism or any other type of slander like that or slurs. Why on earth do we need to go to that step? Guys, it's calm. We can have banter without you saying I should get deported to Nigeria. You don't have to go to that step. It's completely and wildly unnecessary, and it shouldn't be defended to any capacity by saying Vinny Jr. shouldn't have gone and danced. Because A, as I pointed out earlier, we've seen dancing celebrations in the history of football for a very, very long time. But B, it doesn't even matter. Even if players were getting booked for celebrating because they were dancing throughout the entire test of time of footballing history, it still doesn't require or allow for what then happened after, allegedly. And also, Mark Clattenburg, I'm coming for you as well, broski. Former referee, yeah, not broski anymore. Well, maybe not, given my complexion. Because on live television, I think it was on Amazon Prime, on live television, he said that Vinny Jr., quote, made life difficult for himself or made the situation worse by dancing. And the other commentator was like in the gantry, like, what are you saying, broski? After, and he was like, yeah, that obviously doesn't excuse any potential racism.
Sure.
Like, straight away after, because he knew, what are you even talking about, brother? Argentina are not passing the vibe check, man. They're actually not beating the allegations all round. Honestly, and this is the other thing, right? You don't have to like Vinny Jr.'s personality. I'm not gonna sit here and go, why does anyone dislike the geezer? I personally couldn't care less. I think he gets himself into problems in certain aspects, like being fouled quite a lot because he provokes other players or whatever. But at no point should he deserve racial abuse. That's just a fact of the matter. It doesn't matter whether you dislike him. That's fine. If you don't like his personality, there's enough footballers in the world that have pretty shit personalities or attitudes, right? And that's the reason maybe you don't like them. Or you don't like them because of the way they play out on the pitch. But it should never become about personal to the point where it's something to do with skin color. Again, on the theme of like, oh, well, Vinny Jr. only gets this because he's got an attitude. Someone said, how come N'Golo Kante's never had racial abuse? That's because he's a humble guy, right? He literally signed for Fenerbahce last week and fans were in blackface.
What the
What are
fuck?
you even
Is that true?
literally signed for Fenerbahce last week and fans were in
Oh my god. The same fans from the same team. Oh my god. This is crazy. I didn't know that shit.
blackface.
What the fuck?
What are you even talking about? Look, my final conclusion, yeah, is I'm not going to sit here, as I said earlier, I'm not going to sit here and go, Prestiani can never play
Europe
professional
is crazy,
football again.
bro.
Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, we can't actually confirm that he said it right at this moment. We can come to a pretty informed conclusion based on what Mbappe, Vinny Jr., and maybe in future what Eduardo Camavinga are willing to share. But I think all I'm asking is for people to take this scenario like more seriously. And I mean prejudice in all walks of life, yeah? A lot of prejudice sometimes is one person's word against another. And it can feel pretty lonely. I've had it. It can feel quite lonely. It can feel like, man, other people might not believe me because I don't have evidence that that was said to me, but it did actually happen. And it's sad and it's frustrating and it angers you. So I think, you know, you
Makes
can have
sense.
whatever opinion you like about Vinny Jr. I'm actually using this as like an example of like wider life, not just in football and not even just racism. If a person comes to you with this sort of something that's been said and you can provide context clues and, you know, sometimes you don't have to have like absolute conclusive evidence to feel some level of sympathy for someone. That's it. Vinny Jr. has been racially abused in football. We've seen it on camera, okay? We might not have seen what Prestiani said here live and direct through his lips, but we've seen fans do monkey gestures. First of all, in the literal same game, Benfica supporters were doing that, but in the past as well, with chants from Valencia and monkey chants and whatever from Valencia. And when there's multiple people saying the same thing about a certain instance, at least just think about it. Don't dismiss it because you don't like the player involved. But anyway, that is it from me. I know there's gonna be a lot of discussion in the comment section, realistically, about this one. And it is pretty immediate as well. There's not like a massive fallout. Ultimately, we'll see how the situation develops, whether there is any other proof further down the line. There was a lot of fieriness during the course of this game and even after as well, with Benfica officials trying to get into Real Madrid's dressing room and all sorts of other shenanigans going on, which I will cover in FTW properly. But those are just my thoughts, kind of off the dome.
Anyway, man, that real video from FNG. Okay, now next video we're gonna react to. It's January. Is this year I'm going to like N video by David Achu or Aku. I don't know. I hope I pronounced that right. David Aku. I love his video, bro. He got that blue videos. Anyway, man, like N. David.
It's January here on YouTube, so you know exactly what that means. Compilation videos from the previous year, people putting the current year in their video titles and just hoping that does something. And most importantly, channels and videos about self-improvement and motivation are having an absolute field day, and I can't stand it. The self-help industry was valued at over $40 billion in 2023, and that number is expected to double by 2032. I'm sure you've seen some videos or books in the genre. You know what it's like. They make it seem so easy, as if all your dreams are just a few minutes and or pages away. Lies! They did this one thing, they've changed their life forever. They make up buzzwords, they all pay the same set designer and editor, and if you buy their mentorship book course program, then all your dreams will come true. You do it, and then nothing changes. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm mad, and we're going to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes talking about it.
All right. So something I would say about it is the gym. The gym in January is get packed. Most, like, if you go to Planet Fitness like me, the January that should get packed. You get packed, and then but like before the end of January, it start getting slowly, it start getting empty and empty and empty. I mean, depending on the time you go after that. Let's say you go on afternoon, it's gonna be packed. Not really packed, but you're not gonna see the same people there no more. Some people you see in the beginning of January, you not see them in February, you not see them again, bro. You don't see them people again, bro. It's just crazy, bro. It happens every year. People cannot lock in with something.
Whether it's a self-help book, video guide, seminar, or course, every time you buy into one of these things, somebody is profiting off of your discontentment in life.
I've never had a course.
I'm doing it right now. Now, I'm not saying every time this happens, it is always being done maliciously. I, for one, have a lot of self-help channels and creators that I really like on mental health and fiscal responsibility and having a social life and a bunch of other things. And I personally would like to say that my videos are made with the intention of being entertaining and helpful first. And I hope that's the vibe that you get as well.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
true.
saying this so you can understand your role in this transaction, so you can understand how easy it would be to take advantage of that. Because it is very easy for a creator or a self-proclaimed entrepreneur to come in with not so great motives, try and take advantage of your discontent and unhappy feelings, and make a quick buck off you. You don't need a degree to be one of these guys. You can kind of just say, do, or look any way you want on the internet, and no one can really prove you wrong. It's pretty great. And by that, I mean I'm lying. It's terrible. See, lying on the internet, I just did it. Let's just, for the sake of argument, assume that all of these guys are 100% legitimate. Even if that were the case, I would still have one big issue with them. And to be honest, fair warning, this is going to be a bit of a nonsensical argument, but this is my video and I get to say whatever I want, and I will gladly do so. Why do all these guys have their lives together? Like, at least some of them have to actually be as successful as they claim to be, and that is genuinely upsetting to me. Case in point,
I always say, like, if you find a way to make money very easy, I'm not saying like easy, but you find a strategy and make money, why would you even want to sell course to share? You just make a video and it's just one video or two videos explaining to people how to do it, the same thing you do step by step, and that's it. But the whole reason you have a whole course, you have a videos, over video, pay videos, Patreon, all that shit, bro. People gotta pay to just get the access. You don't have nothing, bro. You a scam, bro. You foul, bro. You have nothing, bro.
have you ever seen any of Ali Abdaal's videos? That man stresses me out. Within the span of 20 minutes, this man will talk about everything he has done, is doing, and will do constantly and forever. Like in researching this video, I watched one of his videos just to kind of get a feel for this whole self-help space. And within, it couldn't have been without 5 minutes. Every time 5 minutes had passed, he would break whatever he was talking about to plug something else. Whether it's a course, a boot camp, a...
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, man. Thank you for the good words, bro.
Sponsor. This man does everything. Why? Why, Ali? Why are you doing this? You've done all the stuff. You've won the game. Who is this even for anymore? Who becomes a doctor and then decides, no, that was too easy. Let's instead do every other venture on the face of the planet. This man uses all 27 hours of a 24-hour day. Meanwhile, I spent the last 3 hours watching YouTube shorts on this couch while procrastinating writing the script. Do I remember even 10% of those videos that I watched in that 3 hours? No. Shame on you, Ali. Shame, I said. I could never interrupt a video meant for the benefit of the people by including a sponsorship in the middle. That's no. You know where this is going, right? Please watch it. I have bills, man. This video is sponsored by Aura. Hi, I'm 11. I just discovered the internet and it's crazy.
I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide for this time. I'm gonna let it slide.
Sign up for a bunch of services and accounts right now, which is a decision I'm sure I never regret. He was wrong. I did indeed regret it. I've made many accounts in my day, many of which I've forgotten about. For example, I made one with this math website while I was in middle school using an email and password I still use today. The company had a data leak that my password was a part of, which I would have never known about if it weren't for Aura. Aura is the all-in-one service that you need to secure you and your family's online activities. Data breaches like the one notify you and
Never
give you the
mind.
steps you
Never mind. Too long.
US-based support as well. Go to aura.com.
Too long.
David
Pause.
to
Too
try
long.
2 weeks for free. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal
David, come
data
on,
is
man.
exposed. So sign up today. You'll be helping the channel and you'll protect yourself online. Everyone wins. Except for you, you little stinker. Why are you so mean to me? Stop it. You look dumb. Why do you have a beard? You're 11. Getting back to what I was saying, I understand that that's a really weird thing to complain about. That people trying to help others get their lives together themselves have their lives together. I understand that that's kind of silly. The only reason I'm saying this is because even though it makes sense for them to do it, it kind of is still adding to the whole idea that whenever you go on social media, it's
Okay, quick. Something about schedules and having a schedule to follow every day. I used to like the idea. I still do like the idea. I still do like the idea of having something to do or write down something for the next day to do, to get done and feel like, oh, I accomplished something. But them self-guru or those self-improvement videos, they be like, they have a whole schedule, how they gonna be. And the crazy part, they put time, they put the hours, like they say at 2 p.m. I'm gonna do da 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 da. At 3 p.m. It's like, bro, I tried that shit before, bro. That shit don't work, bro. I'll be putting something for, like, for example, 1 p.m. and I haven't done with a thing that I put for 12 p.m. yet. For 12 p.m. yet. And I'm thinking about 1 p.m. Nah, bro. I'm already cooked. Because one bad move, fuck the whole day, bro. One thing you didn't get it done or you didn't start it, fuck the whole day, bro. I'm telling you. I used to want to get out, having the whole schedule, your whole day set prep. Nah, that's just nah. It's good, but at the same time, it kind of like a robot.
bad for you because it makes you feel like everyone else has their lives in order and you don't. You want to talk about feeling bad because other people are doing better than you. These guys are leagues ahead of me. The contrast alone of their productivity versus my productivity is either hilarious or deeply upsetting. I choose both. And to see these self-help people so constantly and consistently portray themselves this way, even if it's not true, it's still discouraging sometimes. Because if you're anything like me, you watch them and you just think to yourself, wow, I will never be that guy, so why should I even try? However, I do fully understand that there are people who look at them, even though they are leagues ahead of them, and see it as an inspiration that they could one day attain to that level. And for those people, I am happy for them, because it's true in a lot of ways, but take it with a grain of salt. Because for every legit person on the internet offering sound advice that you can actually apply in your life, there are 10 other creators who are just spewing nonsense, and it annoys me so much. For example, why do a lot of these self-help gurus use absolutes and explain very basic things as if they're revolutionary? It's always, this is the one thing you need to be a millionaire. You will never fail if you try this.
True.
Your father
True.
will love you if you use these.
True. You know many videos out here in YouTube about, oh, how to make quick bucks, how to make and then they put a set amount, like how to make $3,000 every month. And you be watching it, you like, okay, I'm ready. I'm getting locked in. I'm gonna get this money. You watch the whole video, you just realize it's a waste of fucking time. I just waste my time because this nigga just asking for something that I don't have. Sometimes the whole video literally from the beginning of the video, oh, you need to have this and that. I don't have that. I don't have what you asked for. So this video to me right now is useless. That's why I pause it and I change it. It's useless right now. Asking me if I have a fucking license for something. I don't have the license. Boom. Move on. You know what I mean? But it's like that. There's so many videos in the internet about how to make quick bucks, how to make this, that. You just waste videos, bro.
These hacks. All of those
Waste
statements
videos.
were lies. They always try and make their advice seem so love you if you use these hacks. All of those statements were lies. They always try and make
10
their advice
hacks.
seem so fancy and mind-blowing. It's not. It's actually very common knowledge and or practice. For example, consider the following excerpt.
Step 5. Surround yourself with the right people. Here's the truth no one talks about.
True.
Your environment will either push you forward or pull you down. The people you spend time with, your friends, family, colleagues, have a massive impact on your success.
The secret that nobody talks about is that the people you surround yourself with will have an impact on the person you become. The secret no one's ever heard of before, that's it. I'm not going to say anything else about that. I'm just going to trust that you understand how frustrating that is and why it is so. I will say this though, oddly enough, I think Newton's first law falls in this category. For those of you who don't know, Isaac Newton, the father of modern physics, his first law: things don't move unless you move them, and they don't stop unless you stop them. I dare one of you physics nerds to tell me otherwise. It's so stupid. Am I saying that self-help gurus keep things intentionally surface level and vague so they can appeal to the least common denominator? Or am I saying that doing this makes their audience feel like they're changing whether or not they actually are? Or am I even saying that doing this can subtly make their audience feel inferior so that they now depend on them to feel good again? I never said any of those things. Why would you say that?
All right, part 2, cultural and mental impact.
Now, I want to emphasize that this is my personal opinion, but if I had to sum up the effect that this has on culture and society, it would come to 2 main categories. What's interesting about self-help is that it doesn't actually have to change you. It just has to make you feel that you're changing. You just want to feel good about yourself and that you're in control of your life. And you know what that looks like. We've all gone to a Barnes & Noble, wanted to change our life, see a book that's for some reason cost $31? And then once you justify that high price to yourself, then you start to think, wow, am I better than everyone else? I'm being so responsible. Like, I bought a book by myself for fun. Am I some kind of genius? And then at that point, you may as well chuck the book into oncoming traffic. You'll never know what it says either way. You're not actually gonna read it. If you really wanted to learn that skill, you could have easily Googled it, watched one of those good self-help video guys. There are probably a bunch of podcasts on it. And honestly, you can ask ChatGPT to make you a research plan on a bunch of articles, videos, and podcasts to do the thing. There are a lot of free sources you could be using. But since they are free, they don't feel as official, you know? But buying a book, like a real one that's made on paper with money? Now that's changed. But even if you did go the free route, doing too much research with articles and videos can be its own form of procrastination, and it's a tricky one at that. Because at least when you're watching Instagram Reels, you know you're not being productive. And maybe you'll start feeling bad after an hour or 2 or 7, and then you'll eventually get the task started.
But like, good question. Why is that? Why wouldn't you like chilling and then, let's say you spend the whole day working, and then you just want to chill a little bit, and then you lay down or whatever, you sitting down on the sofa, whatever, and then you watching some reels in Instagram, or you watching some YouTube short, whatever you watch, right? And I mean, to me, it happened like I get this stupid thoughts like, oh, you know, this thought of like, you're not doing nothing. Oh, you lazy right now. You're sitting down and in your phone. What you doing? Like, you wasting your time. Life is going. You can die right now. I hate those thoughts, bro, because why? I just worked the whole day. I just work a 12-hour shift, bro. Leave me the fuck alone, bro. Come on. Let me cheat a little bit, bro. But now my brain is start overthinking like, oh, I should do something right now. I should be productive. I should achieving things. Like, no, I don't need to. That's why nowadays I just do my best to just ignore those thoughts and enjoy this chlorine. Fuck it. Because I deserve it. After 12-hour shift of working, I deserve fucking chilling on my phone. 12-hour shift without phone too. Without phone, without music. Think about it. Fuck. I need that time for myself.
You feel like you're being productive or 7, and then you'll eventually get the task started. But when you're doing research, you feel like you're being productive, and so you feel good about yourself. And while it is good, you shouldn't feel like that good yet. You haven't done anything. And it comes to a certain point where you have enough information, you need to stop reading and actually do it. And if you pass that point and continue to read articles, you are now delaying your progress. And that's why it's tricky, because now you don't even fully realize that you're procrastinating, even though you definitely are. And you know, in many ways, this type of procrastination is actually worse than the Instagram type of procrastination, because at least then you could have argued, well, hey, I don't really know how to start. That's why I haven't done anything yet. But now you've done the research. You know exactly how to start. You're just choosing not to. Like, you're doing all this extra research, you're gaining nothing for it, and you're wasting hours. You could have just spent those wasted hours doing something that you actually enjoyed, like mindlessly watching Instagram Reels. What's the moral of the story? Planning and researching is pointless, and you should just watch Instagram Reels.
Okay, David. Okay, bro. Chill. This is so funny, bro.
Yep, that'll do it. You know, like I was gonna do a joke where I like put in the yeah sound, yeah, that sound. I think it might be funnier if I just leave the thing. If I think editing me might leave that in. That would be really. The fact of the matter is, doing the thing is scary. It makes you feel untalented and stupid and slow, and no matter what amount of research you do, you can never fully get rid of this feeling. But hey, watch another video on time management. Listen to your motivation playlist again. Buy a third planner. I'm sure that doing all of these things will definitely help us achieve our goals and make us happier in the long run.
He want, yeah, for sure. He want.
You can see that, right? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. The contrast between motivational and self-help content intended for men and women should be studied because it is so interesting. I did a tad bit of research for this subject, so I'm happy to report my observations. I saw that the content typically intended for the female audience is colorful, known for its variety of planners and stationery. They focus on a hope for a better future, being what's known as an it girl, and for some reason,
Bro, all this video, bro. Ain't no way, bro. When you see those videos, bro, you see them people following those those routine, bro. Daily routine, like 2025 is a routine, da 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 da. You don't follow that routine 24/7 for real, bro. How about writing down in your daily, whatever how you pronounce the shit. You don't do that shit for real. I thought about getting me one for 2026 and start writing down everything I did in the day. And I realized, bro, I'm not gonna use that shit after the second week of the month. So don't be trying to spend money on that shit. And I didn't get it because I don't need it, bro. I don't need to, bro. You don't need that shit for real. I'm telling you. But in those videos, bro, them people ain't no way to following the schedule like that every fucking day for the whole year, bro. Nah, bro. This week they go without even do nothing. I'm telling you.
all their thumbnails follow the same theme, better future, being what's known as an it girl, and for some reason, all their thumbnails follow the same theme of fitting an entire camera roll worth of photos into one frame. Now, I personally find it to be a bit vague and overly optimistic, but I am charmed at the joy that this seems to instill in these women. Even if the joy is as short-lived as the goals themselves, it's still nice. The men, however... Hey guys, let's talk. According to my research on men's motivation content, you're supposed to be sad, angry, and staring into the abyss for about 90% of your day. They're also mostly comprised of stock footage and clips from movies, and also just Ryan Gosling in general. I don't know why they picked him to be the mascot, but he's there a lot. And then after that, it's all packaged with a title that has the word motivation somewhere in it, and then the most uncomfortably detailed thumbnail you have ever seen in your entire life. That is... ew. Sorry, sir. And let me just say something real quick. This isn't as cool as you might think it is. Like, this picture looks cool, but like, it doesn't look cool just because the man is so cool. It's because someone took the time to set up a light to get that shadow. In addition, someone also spent a lot of time bent over on a laptop editing this photo so it could look that way. Do you get the point I'm making here? It looks this way not because the dude just has that air to him. No, it's because some nerd who's really good with cameras, lights, and editing took a lot of time to make him look that way. Like, you know the jokes where it's like, bro had to set up the tripod, and yeah, that's literally what's happening here. It's not that cool once you think about it. Why is the internet convinced that the only way for a man to improve is to cut off everyone they love and hold dear, lock themselves in a room with no natural...
True. That's another thing too. Most of the video motivational for men on Instagram or YouTube, whatever, it's more like, oh, you gotta be alone. Oh, gotta find yourself. You gotta shut up the people around you. I used to think like, oh, yeah, interesting. But now I'm like, why, bro? Why? Why I gotta call everybody in my life, bro? Why I gotta stop going playing soccer or go whatever sport I do? Nah, bro. Why I gotta? Because most of those videos more focus about getting the money, getting the money. When you realize getting the money is cool, but you have a life. You have a life, my nigga.
Sunlight and stay there until they become. I don't even know what the goal is, really. Like, you want to be a business guy of some sort. It's never anything specific. It's always just like a man in a suit with money.
Yeah.
Where do you get the suit from?
Where you get the money?
They don't care. In addition, there is something about self-help that just encourages an unhealthy level of individualism. You're supposed to help yourself. Just read more books. You should be able to fix all your problems by yourself without the help of anyone else, and if you can't, you're a loser and you should feel bad, and that's exactly why you should buy my book. And you see it the most with like male-intended motivation. You have to be a lone wolf, figure it out all by yourself. It should be agony. You should love the pain and discomfort, because that's what a hunter and a warrior would do. You have to be a machine. Brother, you live in a home with steady Wi-Fi and air conditioning. You are none of those things. No, hey, look at me. No. What honor and nobility do you think you are gaining by cutting off the outside world and pushing away everyone who loves you? What trophies do you earn? What accolades have you achieved? Why are you even doing this? Because some guy took an AI voice mixed together with clips of movies made 20 years ago and told you that you should do it? That is the corniest thing I have ever heard. And you're supposed to be a warrior? Your favorite movie is WALL-E. But I'm not gonna fully bash these
I like
videos,
WALL-E
because
though.
if you look at the guys they use as examples in these motivational videos, they are far more driven than I am. They all have more money and more worldly accomplishments than I will ever have, and I think it's only fair and necessary to acknowledge at least that. But with that being said, I'm still hypercritical of these videos because I don't love the mindset that they encourage. The idea that you're so much better than the average person and the only thing stopping you from succeeding is your hard work. Everyone else in your life is a distraction because they will never understand this enlightened path you have chosen to take. I think when you take this to extremes, this type of thinking only leads to narcissism and thinking that you're more important and self-sufficient than you actually are. Because you do not by yourself have everything you need to succeed. If you read books, watch videos, consult professionals, that is you admitting that you need the help of other people if you want to improve and get better. You don't just innately have the know-how. You have to learn just like everybody else. Therefore, you are not just so much smarter than everyone else. Also, you can work really hard and still fail. It happens all the time. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't work hard because there's no guarantee of success? No, of course not. But if you put your entire self-worth into the result of your hard work, what happens when a hurricane comes in and throws that hard work asunder? You're gonna will it back into existence by the means of your mindset? No! Sometimes it'll fail, and if that was the only thing you had in your life, I can only imagine how that would crush you. Things happen. Success is never guaranteed. You will need help from others in literally everything you do. For the 99.999% of people watching this, which, spoiler alert, probably includes you, you are not special.
True, though. It's true.
And that's totally fine. Again, the following is my personal opinions and feelings and experiences on this topic. If none of this works for you, that's totally okay. There are multiple valid ways to approach this. Something I read on Reddit that I think is true for this topic is that it's difficult to make conscious change because your brain has so many subconscious programs. It's one thing to know that you have to change. That's the easy part. But training your brain to actually adopt the change is an uphill battle because it's so used to just turning off and doing the default option. For example, have you ever found yourself using Instagram for hours and then you try and be a responsible adult and then you leave the app and then within literally 10 seconds you
back
open
again?
the app again? I don't
Fuck
even think
yeah.
about it when it happens. It just happens. It is a subconscious process that I have to consciously force myself out of. And honestly, I don't always succeed. I have been on Instagram so many times while making this video. So whenever I'm trying to make a really big change, I have to have a really good reason and it needs to be as frictionless as possible when compared to my current programs. This is why a lot of the time when I set a goal, I don't have a specific deadline in mind. Now, this may sound a bit counterintuitive, but hear me out. For those of you who don't know, I go to the gym. Do you know why I started doing that? Because my doctor told me I was going to die. Okay, fine. That's not exactly what he said. He said something more along the lines of, I don't mean to alarm you, but your family has a history of diabetes and high blood pressure, so you're really going to want to be careful with some of these habits, you know? Like, right now you're considered obese, and we just got your blood work back, and it's looking like you're pre-diabetic. But what I heard was, hey, fatso, this chart says you got like 2 months left, tops. I said, interesting. Very interesting. So did I want to change how I ate and start working out? No, but what was I gonna do? Die? I got a gym membership that day, and I've gone consistently 2 or 3 days a week for the past 3 years. So
Yeah,
dear viewer,
makes
what
sense.
do you think it was that motivated me to go to the gym? Was it that I wrote down inspirational quotes on a whiteboard and also sticky notes on my mirror? Or was it the morbid fear of succumbing to an untimely, painful, and preventable death wherein my last cold, artery-clogged breath would be me saying, I should have? It was option B. Now, am I saying that you too must eat yourself to the brink of type 2 diabetes in order to lock in? That is one strategy, but not one I could honestly recommend, no. What I'm saying is that, at least for me, change doesn't come just because I like really want it. It comes because I reach a point where I think to myself, what else am I gonna do? When I started going to the gym, it wasn't an issue of whether I wanted to or not. There were no planners, no deadlines, no choice. I don't have a choice. We're going. Like, yeah, so maybe I missed a day or messed up in some other way. Who cares? We can't stop doing it. We keep going. Also, again, in my experience, a goal for me only works when I don't feel that I'm trying to change the world overnight. I have to accept that this is going to be an imperfect process. I'm going to miss days. I'm going to make rookie mistakes for weeks at a time that is going to delay my progress. It's not going to be fun. This is how it works. You are going to feel like an idiot and a failure and that you're behind the entire time. It's part of the process. Realistic goals are not flashy. They are a boring slog that takes a million different tiny steps to lead to one big goal. Those tiny steps are going to feel like mountains to you, but nobody else is gonna care about them. And while we're talking about not being perfect, do you realize that I suck too? I, from time to time, will make advice videos, and even I don't perfectly follow them. There are still days where I spend half my time wasted on my phone. Criticism is not always easy to take. I compare myself to people all the time, and most frustratingly, I got the volume too loud notification today, and I was doing really good with that one. But am I saying that I learned nothing from researching and writing those videos? Of course not. Anytime I'm indulging in these activities, I think back on the work that I did and how it's on the internet right now and how if I don't apply it, I'm being a hypocrite. So yes, there have been steady improvements. I still regularly check my volume levels to make sure they're not too loud. I journal so that I can take criticism better and stop comparing as much. And I'm happy to report that as far as the phone thing goes, incidents have gone down from happening 19 days a month to a report. I journal so that I can take criticism better and stop comparing as much. And I'm happy to report that as far as the phone thing goes, incidents have gone down from happening 19 days a month to about 13 days a month, which if you haven't noticed, is a smaller number. I'm just saying this so you don't think that I'm perfect and that I have my life in order. No. Oh, no. That's part of the reason why I try and keep these videos a little bit relatable and also as chaotic as humanly possible. I think there's something really funny about the juxtaposition of making well thought out and nuanced arguments while using big people's smart words such as nuanced and juxtaposition, all the while contrasting it with filming on a green screen held together by paint cans, a bed with no sheets, my mother's weirdly fancy couch, and other miscellaneous areas that make guest appearances every now and then, and of course, an unexplained hole in the wall. Stop asking me in the comments. I will never.
I always ask myself where he records his videos, bro. Where he records his videos, in his house or he's like, I don't know, it's weird.
Never tell you how this happened, never. And that's honestly how I get like 90% of these video ideas. Like I'll see a bad habit in myself or I'll see a bad habit in somebody else that I can somewhat relate to, and then this will give me an excuse to research it for like a week. It is definitely not because I have mastered these subjects and I feel that I am qualified to teach it to others. You should view me less as a teacher in this scenario and more as a 7th grader giving a book report. I am simply sharing some things that I found and liked with my fellow 7th graders. And also during the question and answer section, if you ask me something even a little bit out of the scope of my research, I will panic. Real quick, addressing the whole male loneliness, move in the shadows, lock yourself in a basement for 7 months until you emerge looking like handsome Squidward. Let's talk about that for a second. While I do think it's important to have a level of privacy in your life, and there are definitely times where you do have to sit down and lock in, consider this. One of my biggest not going to kill me fears is an empty photo album. I hate the thought that I could very easily spend all my time alone and then one day I'll be 50 and want to reminisce on old memories, but I can't because I never took pictures of anything, because I never had a reason to take pictures of anything, because I didn't spend time with anyone. Whether it was because I thought I was too good or too bad to have friends, whatever the reason, I don't want to be that. I don't want to look back on myself and have nothing, no reason for pictures, no memories with people I loved.
That's true, bro. I hang out with some few people, homies and shit. I have no pictures with them, bro. Like, I have no pictures with my brothers. I do have a few pictures, but I don't have like pictures recently with them. It's crazy, bro. Like, we don't take pictures like we used to do back in the days. And
it's just sad. Career goals and personal achievements are important in life, but they're not the only thing in life. And doing that, sure, you may have a lot of accolades, achievements, and be able to buy a bunch of cool things. but a bunch of pictures of trophies is a really boring photo album. Self-improvement is a good thing. There is a certain pride in being able to look at a to-do list with every item checked off and to look at oneself in the mirror and say, I didn't waste the whole day watching Instagram Reels. What a lovely feeling that is. We're all lacking in some way, and as long as we're trying to do something to improve that lack, we're doing something right. And also, I enjoy making these videos, and I'm definitely not going to stop doing it, but please remember, I'm not an expert in anything I say. I'm just a curious 7th grader. Do we like these new glasses? I think they're cool.
That was a video, man, from David. That was a video from David.
Bad Bunny and Drake.
Next video we're gonna react to, man. The next video, locked in. Next video locked in we're gonna react to is, hold on, give me a second. Okay. React to the cultural war that nobody talks about. King Benny Garcia. Locked in. King Benny Garcia. Let's go.
It might seem like two sides of the same coin. Bad Bunny and Drake might seem like two sides of the same coin on the surface. They're both artists in hip-hop centric genres that mostly cover the same thing. They both make a lot of breakup songs and they both make a lot of party songs, and for that reason you might think that they're both the same artists with a different language. But if you've been on the internet,
maybe.
you know that Bad Bunny is looked at as an icon in the making. And even though Drake isn't in his prime anymore, when he was at his peak, he never received this type of love. And to be honest with you, there's really just one factor that separates one from the other. And to understand what I mean, we gotta start at the home front. The history of Puerto Rico's music culture is one that is rich. So rich that we don't even know where it started. We just know that it started centuries and centuries ago. Thankfully though, Puerto Rico's historical context is one that provides just enough information to understand how we got such a complex and diverse music scene to come out from such a little island if you really think about it. Without getting too deep into the history of Puerto Rico, we gotta understand that the genetic composition of the island and the diversity that that brings is largely responsible for why the art of Puerto Rico is so diverse. Because mainly everybody in Puerto Rico has a mixture of three groups. There's the Taino descendancy, the European descendancy that comes from Spain, and of course the black descendancy that comes from West Africa. Thanks to this cultural diversity, we have a unique epicenter of art in the island that would see classical European aesthetics clash with the vibrant African sounds hundreds of years before the recording of music. And thankfully, because the Europeans, the Africans, and even the natives were able to preserve that history, Puerto Ricans were able to experiment with arts from different backgrounds, and kind of Ricans were able to experiment with arts from
black music, you know, comes from the people, okay?
Different backgrounds, and kind of clash them together and mix them together, creating a melting pot. And by the time that music did start to be recorded, Puerto Ricans had hundreds of years of that advantage that other cultures might have not have had. Furthermore, that clashing of sounds was something that never really stopped for Puerto Rican art. In fact, that clashing of cultures was something that wasn't just emblematic of Puerto Rican sound and music, but the culture as a whole. The trend would also continue into the modern day, where Puerto Ricans found major influences in genres like salsa and reggaeton. Even though there's many others, there's never been a genre where Puerto Rico dominated as heavily as it does in reggaeton. Artists like Daddy Yankee, Residente, and many others not only set the bar for how reggaeton is supposed to sound like, but what the flow is supposed to sound like, what the lyricism looks like. And as the genre evolved, it would create its own little subgenres, and that would eventually bring us the world of Bad Bunny. But I don't want to talk about Bad Bunny just yet, because I would rather talk about Canada. Canada also has a rich history in music, though whereas Puerto Rico's music had a political component to what influenced the sound, undoubtedly encouraging creativity and experimentation. On the other hand, the political landscape of Canada was one that mostly made it so that Canadian music was rooted in the French ideal of what music was supposed to be, and therefore the country mostly became significant in its contribution to classical music. But unlike Puerto Rico's music culture, Canadian culture never encouraged the unifying of different cultures in its music. Of course, there were people of color that were successful in this genre, but it mostly alienated both the black side and the native side of Canada. And once classical music stopped being the mainstream of music, Canada would fall behind to what was happening south of the border in America. First, it was jazz that crossed over, but eventually that would become genres like rock, pop, and eventually hip-hop, genres that would gain traction in America before making it north of the border, effectively making Canada the little brother of America. It actually got so bad for Canadian music that the government had to step in, making sure that Canadian acts got airplay under the Broadcasting Act of Canada.
Jeez.
And the little brother label that Canada got was something that it would never lose, not unless an artist was able to break the code and essentially dominate American charts, which is where Drake comes in. Now, before we talk about Drake, I would appreciate it if you guys subbed up to the channel. I'm putting a lot of effort into this video, so I would just appreciate it, especially because my last video just flopped. You don't have to, but yeah, let's get back to this video. See, by the mid-2000s, Canada had failed to provide a single crossover rapper in the 30 years of hip-hop existing. What's odd about that is that by the mid-2000s, hip-hop became less New York oriented, with markets like LA, Atlanta, Chicago becoming major cities in which hip-hop was being cultivated and created, as well as creating hotspots for innovation in the genre. And yet, with the proximity that Toronto has to New York City, you would think that Toronto would be a hotspot for hip-hop, but it really wasn't. And then Drake came along, and it was bound to be a big deal, because ever since the inception of hip-hop, those cities that did become big in the genre also came with their own style. LA was pivotal in innovating gangsta rap and introducing G-Funk shortly thereafter. Atlanta brought with it the crunk era on top of innovative flows, and not to mention that it was the epicenter for trap music as the 2010s came to be. And whether it be Houston, VA, Chicago, or whatever rap city that became big, it came with its own style. So you would think that Drake opening the gates for Toronto was in theory an exciting proposition. However, if you really think about it, there was never anything for Drake to innovate or bring from his hometown into the mainstream. And let me explain why. Whether we like it or not, art is political, and in many ways, art reflects the politics of the environment in which it is created. Let's take hip-hop for example. After a decade of being an underfunded city with limited resources for school programs in art and music, kids in New York City figured out their own way to make art and music, which is how we got hip-hop. LA took hip-hop by storm with gangster rap because the 80s and 90s were an era that found a lot of neighborhoods in economically disadvantaged positions in crime-ridden areas thanks to decades of political malnourishment. But the culture of Canadian music is essentially to copy whatever's going down in the States. So if you really think about it, what other options does Drake have? But before we continue with Drake, let's go back to Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico.
Well, tonight, Puerto Rico is one step closer to becoming the 51st state, and yet there are serious questions about how to move forward and whether there's enough support in Washington.
Some of you, especially those from Puerto Rico, might be quick to point out that in terms of borrowing from the states, Puerto Rico might be the most guilty of it, especially because the U.S. government essentially made it so that Puerto Rico had to be like America. I mean, there was a point in time where it was illegal to just have a Puerto Rican flag, but ultimately that did end up failing, mainly because of two factors that Canada doesn't have the privilege of: distance and a different language. Regardless of how much the US government tried to enforce American culture in Puerto Rico, the factors of distance and language has always been too much to overcome, making it impossible to fully follow the trends of the United States, which is how we get Bad Bunny.
This video gonna have a lot of copyright, bro. Fuck.
In the mid-2010s, reggaeton was seeing a lot of American influence creep into the sounds and the influence of the genre.
This
of
sounds
course,
old
reggaeton
as
is
fuck.
an extension of hip-hop, so it was always going to be rooted in the States somewhat, but now it was kind of getting impossible to ignore. It wasn't anymore an influence as much as it was just like the Spanish version of America, which is how reggaeton essentially evolved into becoming trap. If you're wondering what the difference is essentially not a lot. It's just like a different production style, really. But more importantly, with the rise of trap, we saw the rise of Bad Bunny. Of course, he also had a lot of American aesthetics, but he did more with it because he understood how to use it in his own style. I remember that's what stood out to me most when I first heard Tu No Vive Así, which wasn't the first big hit for Bad Bunny, but it was the one where I saw the vision. But what really impresses me about Bad Bad Bunny's rise is that it reminds me of how Puerto Rican music rose. Once again, it was that clashing of two cultures. It's a reminder that how Puerto Rican music started was that European folklore met African resistance. And I don't know, I just think it's very poetic in that sense. Especially when Bad Bunny started to cross over into America, making songs with Nicki Minaj, Travis Scott, and Cardi B, because it's like a game of telephone where you keep clashing styles and melting them together, and you come out with a whole different take and outlook on the genre. And poetically, in the first time of the genre's existence, Latin hip-hop was influencing hip-hop, a fact that would be proven when the biggest artists in the world would team up with Bad Bunny. Hey, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of like Drake on this song. And the concept of this song on paper was pretty cool too. Bad Bunny had made it big. He was shining a spotlight not only on himself, but what Puerto Rico had going on. And Drake was in the middle of his all-time peak. But that reminds me, I haven't explained how Drake got to this point of popularity. So let's go back to Drake. Well, you remember how I said that every rap region used to have its own sound back in the day? Well, the truth is, I only said had and not has because of Drake. Essentially, what would end up happening with Drake is that Drake went from city to city just as rappers were about to blow up, hop on their tracks, and quote unquote put them on, popularizing the stylistic innovations and claiming them for himself. Think of Versace and the repopularization, there we go, of the triplet flow. Think of when Tentacion blew up and he was like riding the SoundCloud wave, and Drake tried to hop on that trend like immediately. This is who Drake was, and this is how Drake was gonna stay alive. It's the Canadian way anyways. But the negative effect of it is that it made the lowest common denominator hip-hop fan, that hip-hop fan that doesn't want to experiment and travel along hip-hop genres, just default to Drake because Drake could give you everything that you need. And personally, to me, that's not even a criticism of Drake. Because if you really think about it, that's a good business strategy. But the thing about business and art is that what's good for business usually isn't good for art. And what's good for art isn't usually good for business. But Drake was at the top, so who was gonna tell him otherwise? Essentially, Drake became one of those circles in Agario. Do people still play Agario? And again, calling it fair here, sometimes it was beneficial for an artist to receive the Drake feature. And I'm sure that some artists are very grateful till this day of what Drake was doing, but I do think that the long-term effects of that move was something that we feel today more than we felt back then. And to be honest with you, it's hard not to look at Bad Bunny collaborating with Drake in the same way. Drake trying a different region style to see if he could profit off of them. However, alright, yep. It's 4 in the morning and the snow little fucking shovel trucks are outside. Now, for whatever reason, this song never really caught on, not with Drake fans nor Bad Bunny fans. As big as both artists are, especially now, you would think that people would listen to this song and this would be a momentous song, but it really isn't. However, I do think the song is notable because after the song was released, the careers of Bad Bunny and Drake would go in very different directions. Like, think about it like this. By the end of the decade, Bad Bunny was performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. Meanwhile, Drake was getting booed out of Camp Flog Gnaw. If only was performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. Meanwhile, Drake was getting booed out of Camp Flog Gnaw. If only somebody made a video about that, by the way. I would watch it personally. And the 2020s has just not been kind to Drake in any way. I can't think of a single alley. And the 2020s has just only somebody made a video about that, by the way. I would watch it personally. And the 2020s has just not been kind to Drake in any way. I can't think of a single album that Drake released in the 2020s that was actually received well. Certified Lover Boy was an instant failure. Everybody from fans to critics hated it, and especially they hated that cover art. But regardless of Certified Lover Boy, it seems like every Drake album this decade has received the same amount of feedback. I think the fall off of Drake is indicative of something else. It's indicative of something bigger, actually. Because hip-hop became that monoculture and every place does kind of sound the same, Drake kind of lost what made him special in the first place. There is no style for Drake to hop on. There is no trend for Drake to be the innovator of. On the other hand, you have Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's 2020s has been essentially perfect. 2022's Un Verano Sin Ti was essentially the album that broke him into America as a household name, but it was significant in that it was that understanding and relearning of your culture to reinvent the wheel. And once again, I think what makes Bad Bunny so special is that Bad Bunny makes albums that only Bad Bunny can really make, because yes, it has that Puerto Rican influence, but it also has that influence from Latin America as a whole. But what Bad Bunny does is that he recontextualizes those influences and reimagines them through a Puerto Rican point of view. Which brings me to Debí Tirar Más Fotos.
Seguimos aquí.
Sí, seguimos aquí.
By far, this is Bad Bunny at his most Puerto Rican. This is Bad Bunny essentially re-exploring those roots left behind by the ancestors. And what ended up happening with this album is something beautiful, something that you can't recreate any other way.
What? What happened?
Okay. Whoa.
You got a flashback or something?
I think of the scene in Sinners, for example, and how Ryan Coogler was saying that music sometimes transcends generations and finds the energy of our ancestors. And I think that spirit is what lives on in this album. I've seen so many videos of older and younger people really enjoying this album in a way that I never thought would be possible. My dad is a salsa guy. He doesn't listen to new music. I don't even think he knows any of the new artists. But when that new Bad Bunny record came out, he listened and he enjoyed it as well. This is what's so important about culture in art and music specifically. It connects with people that maybe wouldn't have connected otherwise. And I believe that is the main difference between Drake and Bad Bunny. When Drake channels culture, he uses it kind of as a dress. But when Bad Bunny channels his culture, he lives it. You can tell that he loves it. And I think us as humans can recognize that. So as we head into the future, I think that will be something that will distinguish the legacy of Drake and Bad Bunny. Of course, in the future, I think in the history books, we will recognize Drake as one of the biggest artists in our generation. However, I think those same history books will look back at Bad Bunny and recognize him as a legend. A once-in-a-lifetime artist that can never be duplicated. Anyways, I picked up a job. Hopefully that doesn't like intervene with the YouTube schedule. I'm trying to get 50 videos out this week, or not this week, this year. And hopefully that will work out well. Aside from that, that last video that I made did flop. So hopefully this one does better.
That was a video from Game Bernie Garcia. Shit. Now we're gonna play some Ninja, bro. I gotta play some Ninja. It's been a while to play Ninja. I gotta play some Ninja, bro. Let's start Ninja. I'm fighting this boss right now in Ninja that I'm just like, nah, bro. This motherfucker gotta go. He gotta go. For real. I'm telling you. But we're gonna get it done today. Alright, lock in, chat. Lock in. Ninja. Alright, let's start. Come on. Alright, if I don't stay for long because I'm tired, bro. I gotta go sleep. I'm really aware about my sleep, bro. I care about my sleep a lot. So anyway, let's go. Get some stuff first.
What do you need? Hope that helps. All right, back to it.
Let's get it.
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
Fuck, I hate this demon, bro. Motherfucker already killed me. I ain't even done shit yet. You already killed me. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? All right, let's go. Let's start again. Come on, come on, come on.
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Fuck, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out. It's demon. Jump, jump, jump. Fuck. Shit. I might fuck. Oh my god. Sir. Stay there, stay there. Fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. Okay, it's gone. It's gone. Okay, okay. It's not dead yet, though. It's not dead yet. Got more life. I think the strategy is not getting too close to this motherfucker. But how? Yeah, come on, let's go. Yeah, we got it, we got it. Watch out, watch out. No, 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 no. Back up, back up, back up. Oh shit. Fuck! It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's fine. No issues. Fuck, bro. I hate this demon, bro.
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Stay there, stay there. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Got you, motherfucker. Fuck. That was close. Run, motherfucker, run for your life, run for your life. Oh, fuck. What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Come on, come on, come on. No! Dude, I was so close, bro. I was so fucking close. Fuck. I was so fucking close, bro. Oh shit.
Another demon.
I was so fucking close.
Different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Damn. No, hell no. What the fuck? We go again. We go again, bro. These motherfucking demon, bro. He's
Another demon. This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
hell no.
Yakumo! Come on! We need you!
Oh hell no, bro. Oh.
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Jesus Christ.
Yakumo! You're gonna be okay! Yakumo!
Dude, what the fuck?
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Yakumo, respond! Come in, Yakumo!
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Jeez. Dude, this demon. This fucking demon.
Another demon! This one feels different from the ones you fought so far.
I've handled worse.
Okay, it's dead. Not dead 100%. Because there's a second round, bro. Oh my god. There's a second round. God knows what is this. Fuck. I gotta take any chance possible. Dude, watch out. He move fast, dude. He move fast like a motherfucker. But not here, nigga. Come here. Yeah, I hate this shit. I hate this part. Run for your life. Run for your life. Dude, I don't know. It get bad. Stay here. What is that? What is even that, bro? What the fuck? Dude, hell no, bro. Not this time, bro. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Watch out. Oh, fuck that. No! Motherfucker! Get the fuck out of the way. Run. Stay here. No! Bro, I was so fucking close, bro. Oh, just this close. I got it now.
I've handled worse.
Dude. I was so close, bro. I'm mad now because I don't know how to kill him now, bro. I gotta jump there. Gotta wait. Okay, I got it. I got it. Come on, motherfucker. Come on, come on. Let's go. Oh, hell no. Yes! Fuck off. Oh! You gotta be cooked now. Gotta be cooked now. Come on, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yes, sir. Let's go. Fuck yeah. Finally, bro. Finally. Took me a while, but fuck it. Let's go. Bruh. He's dead. Dude, oh my god. Anyway, let's go. Where we going? Alright, let's go. I don't care about the weapons. Next steps. What a demon, bro. What a fucking demon. Who he thought he was? Something? Motherfucker.
Don't blame me once you find out you've cursed your family for generations.
I'll be fine.
I'll be fine, because after this fucking demon, you're gonna be alright. The fuck? Oh, yeah. That was chapter 5, bro. That was chapter 5. Good ass fucking chapter. I like the demon. We did it. We fucking did it. Bruh, I'm sick. Let's go. Chapter 6. Gaiden wins.
Damn wind. Umi, I'm gonna find a place to land.
Got it. I'll I'll update your travel route.
Oh shit. All right, let's go. Oh shit. Bro, this game is very fucking bloody. I like this shit, bro. All y'all niggas gonna die. Let's go. This is chapter 5, bro. Chilling right here in chapter 5 after killing a. Oh shit. Oh shit, I got no life.
Giacomo, you're getting close to the shrine. Keep moving.
Hey. Oh shit. Dude, they fucking demons.
The wind has gotten quite strong, hasn't it?
Lose our footing and we'll be flying down the mountain too.
Found some new work, if you're interested. Thanks.
just do what you're told.
It's not my place to complain. The mission is everything.
The mission is the only code a Raven Ninja follows.
The mission? Huh?
As descendants of the Dark Dragon, the Raven clan has spent its existence taking on the unpleasant work others wouldn't dirty their hands with. Abduction, thievery, assassination. There's toiling
Okay,
to
move
perfect
on.
No.
Gonna be honest.
Not cut out for.
Jeez, bro. Too many enemies at once. This game gets crazy and crazier, bro. You thought that shit gonna get sweet? Hell no. They send you like 2 niggas. They send you like 20 niggas. Like, damn, chill out. On some bullshit. They be on some bullshit.
Looking for a new. Thank you. Hope that helps.
Of course it will.
Serious, young.
The mission is
The mission?
as descendants abduction, toiling.
Move on, move on.
No.
Gonna be honest.
Not cut out for it.
Oh shit. Fuck, fuck. the fuck happened?
Time for new work? Thank you. Pleasure doing business with ya.
The mission is the... As descendants of the Dark Dragon, abduction, toiling to... No.
Gonna be honest.
Not gonna.
Huh? Oh, hell no.
You work? Hope that helps. Hope that helps.
You're always the mission. As descent abductions, toiling to perfect. No.
Gonna be honest,
Not cut out.
Shit, I'm done though. I'm done. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Suck my dick, and I don't know. Try that shit tomorrow again. Let's try that shit tomorrow again. Fuck. Anyway, man, if you guys enjoyed the live, stay tuned for tomorrow, for the next live tomorrow, the same time, around 7:38 p.m. Yeah, man, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, next live. Have a good one. Have a good night. Peace out.